Hi guys, welcome to the student room. My name is Ross Campbell, and if you don't know who I am or what it is I do, then I suggest you watch this video here where I talk about what it is that I do and why I make these videos. So the subject of today's vlog is pay to play gigs and how to avoid them. I thought I should make this video in an effort to make more musicians aware of these types of gigs and why you should avoid them at all costs. So anyone watching this that already gigs and plays original music live, original as opposed to covers, you probably are aware of the fact that playing gigs with your original music in the beginning doesn't earn you a lot of money as opposed to playing gigs in like a function band, where if you play in a cover band and you play weddings and stuff, there's a good chance like each member of your band will be getting like for anywhere from like 100 to 250 quid a night for a gig. That is definitely not the case when you play original music live and you play original gigs with other bands. More often than not, you'll find that you make little to no money at all from gigs in like local venues put on by promoters and stuff, and a lot of the time, unfortunately, you'll encounter what's called a pay-to-play gig. And a pay-to-play gig, in essence, is when a promoter transfers the risks of their job and the expenses of their job onto the musicians, so that they can, in the end, take all the money made from that gig. So, let me give you an example of this. I have experienced this twice with the same promoter. I was playing in my friend's band. I was playing for a girl called Annie Booth, and she has a 4-piece band. I play guitar, and we were doing gigs in Glasgow with a promoter. The way the ticket sales worked was they said, if you guys sell, say, 20 tickets, we'll give you £60 to split between you. If you sell 40 tickets, we'll give you, I don't know, 90 or £100 or something like that. Basically worked that we had to sell a certain number of tickets in order to see any money at all from this gig. And being a band from Edinburgh playing in Glasgow for the first time, we knew we weren't going to sell like 20 tickets. We knew that we were never going to make any money, which is fine. Like I'm okay with like playing a gig for free as long as I know that I'm not getting paid and there's no false promises or anything. But what's not okay is what happened next was they asked us to pay for the drum kit that they had to hire for the gig, since there wasn't one at the venue. That's one way a pay-to-play gig can go, is the promoter will ask you to pay for what should be their expenses, such as backline, which includes drum kits, guitar amps, bass amps, microphones, a sound engineer. You get the deal. So yeah, we were asked to pay for a drum kit. There was like 4 bands playing, and I think each member of every band had to pay like a £5 for this drum kit, which really, I mean, that's not a lot of money, realistically. But if you're like, if you were like us, if you're like us, we were paying like £12 each to get through to Glasgow on the train to play this gig. So we're already like paying like close to 50 quid altogether just to get through to Glasgow so we can play this gig. And then they're asking us to pay for the drum kit as well, which, it should be covered by them. That's a job of the promoter, is to like ensure all the backline is there, everything's there for the musicians to use and whatnot. So yeah, that's my experience with pay-to-play gigs, and I'll never do them again. Like, it's just not worth the time. Like, a lot of musicians kind of like know it's a problem, but they continue doing the gigs anyway because it gets them seen, it gets them out gigging, and sometimes in quite good venues, and yeah, that's kind of part of the reason why it still exists. Like, these promoters unfortunately still make a lot of money from it. So if you're ever offered a gig and you play original music, like, always make sure before the gig that if there's pay involved, you know how much you're getting. Ask them if like you're certain that you're going to get paid, because sometimes promoters will say to you like, oh, you know, you might make some money if you sell this much tickets, blah blah blah, and they don't give you a definitive answer. So make sure you find out how much you're getting paid, if at all. Ask them up front, am I playing this gig for free or not? I mean, at least if they're honest with you and upfront from the beginning that you're not going to get paid, then that's fine, and if you still want to do it, then that's your choice. Obviously you don't want to play free gigs for the rest of your life, but you'll find that in the beginnings of your music career, that's kind of how it's going to go, unfortunately, and you will have to, you know, front a lot of money yourself in order to get yourself out there at the start. When I had my experience with a pay-to-play gig, one thing that struck me was, I'll go back to the gig I was talking about earlier. We'd already paid for the drum kit, that was established, and they had asked us to do that ahead of the gig, maybe like a week before, so we knew that was going to happen. We kind of tried to argue our way out of it because we explained that we were paying, you know, close to 50 quid each just to get through to Glasgow to play the gig, and then they weren't having it, and my friend Annie, who's the singer and it's her band, she actually phoned the promoter, and they were very, very rude to her about the whole drum kit thing. So anyway, when we got to the gig, we were watching one of the other bands soundcheck, and these guys were like 16, 17 years old. At one point their singer came up to us and said, hey guys, the promoter was supposed to sort out a bass amp for tonight, however they haven't done it, so we're having to go and hire a bass amp ourselves right now. So everyone here is having to chip in like a £5 each to pay for this bass amp, and our bass player doesn't use the bass amp, he just uses a DI, just goes straight into the PA. So we just said, well, sorry, but no, we are not paying for that because we don't need to use the bass amp. Why would we pay for something that we're not using? And this guy seemed like quite annoyed about the fact that we didn't want to pay for the bass amp, and that really like struck me because they seemed to think it was completely normal for them to have to go out and hire a bass amp like an hour before the gig started. Prior to that, the promoter had told them that there would be a bass amp there, and had not explained that they would have to pay for it. So yeah, that's one thing that's really worrying about pay-to-play gigs, is that it seemed like most musicians are like completely fine with it. They don't see a problem with it, or they don't question it at all. That's part of the reason why I made this video, is I want to make musicians aware of the problem that we face when we play original music and we're starting out. Yeah, just avoid pay-to-play gigs at all costs. Don't do them. Find out if you're going to get paid or not. If you are going to get paid, find out how much you're going to get paid, and always ask if they're going to have to pay for any expenses like backline or a sound engineer or anything like that, because a lot of the time you could even just show up to the gig and they'll tell you on the spot before you go on to play, like, by the way, you have to pay for this, and since you're already at the gig, like, you can't really say no, so they put you in a corner and force you into paying for their expenses. So yeah, those are my thoughts on pay-to-play gigs. If you want to know more about how to avoid these sorts of things, I suggest you go to the Musicians Union website, and on their website they have a PDF for download. It's called the Fair Play Guide. It was written in response to the uprising of pay-to-play gigs, which are really common in the UK music scene as a whole, unfortunately. So yeah, that was a bit of a rant, guys, but I really just wanted to make more people aware of this problem, and I hope that you found the video useful, and I hope that you yourself don't encounter any of these types of gigs, although chances are you probably will, but at least you know now that you should avoid them. So thanks very much for watching this video, guys. I hope you learned something useful from it. If you want to see more videos like this, then hit the subscribe button below and subscribe to the Student Room's YouTube channel. My name is Ross Campbell, and I will see you next time.